Hi, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jacob Adams, and this is the Jacob Adams live show. Today we'll be going over the Illuminati and its connection to Kanye West, Lady Gaga, and some other interesting things going on in Hollywood. Now, this will be covering conspiracy theory overall from a balanced perspective, and this show again is only for leaders looking to get to the next level in their leadership. So this will be a very centered look on the concept of conspiracy theories, okay? So I like to go with black and white. So here we go. Let's get to it. All right. So first and foremost, in the news currently, we saw how just recently Kanye West, the beginning of the week, he had come out and started talking specifically about, he started out some of his dialogue on his show with saying things like, Jay-Z, I know you got killers. Let's settle this like men. Call me up. Don't ignore my calls. I know you have killers. Let's settle this like men, he said. And he started with this concept. It was already, that for a general person should already be shocking enough to say. If that alone wasn't enough to be shocking to say. So Kanye West currently, based on what the media reports, is that he's in a psychological ward or high psychological hospital, and he was taken in handcuffs. Again, we're going to say these are rumors or speculations. I wasn't there with my own eyes. I didn't see it, so I can't say that it has validity. Okay, I can only tell you this is what's being reported. So this is in the news, right? And well, I got to thinking. I was talking to my friend last night, and I'm going to tell you why I made this video. Because originally, this video was going to be about testosterone and stuff like that. Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit about how it came to be that I'm making this video before of, or instead of, or even coming out and just saying these things, okay? Well, some things is like that. So Kanye West is currently in the hospital, being thought he's crazy. Some of the stuff he said was other things like, we're not even allowed to voice our opinion or our position. We're not expressing ourselves. And he further said, now him being a black man, he came out and said, I would have voted for Trump. And he said this, right? And he goes, now that alone is controversial because he's saying that it's controversial because it's been set up to be so controversial. And he was coming out and saying that alone was reason to be concerned. He kept saying it a couple of times. I say this, case in point, you're upset, you're getting angry, you're booing me, you're not happy. He goes, case in point. And he further on went on to say that the political correctness that was held by a lot of people was off-putting to him, and he liked that Trump had won with not being so politically incorrect. He said something along the lines of, it's good to see that so much progress was being made. In other words, not being politically correct connected with an audience. It connected with people because they were tired of the political correctness. They were tired of being talked to in a very somewhat condescending way because it was so politically correct that it became condescending because our intellect was not being appreciated or respected. We weren't being talked to in a way that said, look, I know you can handle this. And everything became about political correctness. If you recall back in 2015, there was the running joke was said that, the running joke was that people were offended about everything. It was a meme. One of the memes was, there was a meme of Forrest Gump, and he said, and for some reason, people just start getting offended. It was a meme about Forrest Gump saying this. Okay, so that goes a little bit about the 2015. Now, that was going on, and so one of the websites that I found to be very interesting, or one of the books I read recently was by Ryan Holiday. Now, this was earlier on the year. I got it on the Audible version, and Ryan Holiday himself reads it. And Ryan Holiday goes into how the media does not produce positive stuff so much. They know that what gets a reaction out of you is anger or fear. So in other words, it's about anger or fear. That's how the media looks to get a response out of you. They're not interested in like sadness or stuff like that. Like, there might be some conversion with sadness, but it's not as profitable to their ratings, to their click conversions, as plain old just shock, just fear, fear and anger, specifically anger. So if the media can get a rise out of you with anger or fear, then they really like it because it helps their ratings. Okay. So some of the stuff that I'll be going into today is, well, yesterday, what's made me really change this today was that instead of going into testosterone as planned, because I could do that tomorrow or the next day or et cetera, when testosterone, I'm very proud of. I love testosterone. I just can't say enough good things about testosterone. However, I wanted to, yesterday I was sitting with my friend Rolly, who actually is not for testosterone. He has a completely different take on testosterone. And so I'll go into that some other day. But yesterday we were sitting down, and my friend Rolly is a music engineer. He likes recording. He has a home studio to record music. And we were talking about how modern music is this, modern music is that. And then he's into heavy metal. Like, he likes rock bands. And so we get into talking, and I say, I mean, how good was Metallica really? I asked him, how good was Metallica really? And what I did at that point was I turned on my phone and I put on Saint Anger by Metallica, which I did like back in 2003. I'm just going to share this with my friends real quick. Give me a few seconds. So just got to share this so my friends can get on here. Bam, bam, bam. And so I played Saint Anger for my friend Rolly, and we started analyzing the symbols, we talked about how their bases at that time, based on the article, was not present, and it did sound really raw. And so we were like, well, Metallica was a pretty good rock band. And so then we're like, so what other song was really good by them? And then we thought of Until It Sleeps. Until It Sleeps was a good song because what I did was I went to my phone and I opened up Until It Sleeps. Well, the Until It Sleeps video has imagery like that's pretty religious. Like there's Jesus is in there. They have like snakes, like very Adam and Eve type setting. And this video was released like 20 years ago or more. Like the Until It Sleeps video was released over 20 years ago. And back then, you could say the merger of people using darkness or the element of darkness, or you could even say the devil and music sales, the devil and the record industry, is not a new thing. That isn't a new thing. That's been going on. I mean, we can trace it back to Elvis shaking his hips, right? There was a controversy to him shaking his hips, and should he shake his hips, and was that too sexual, too overt, etc., etc. And then we fast forward to, heavy metal, things like Iron Maiden, etc., etc. And then fast forward a little bit more, we see Metallica, Marilyn Manson, things like this that came out. Now, the main difference that I told my friend Rolly is currently the controversy, if at all, I mean, you may not even know what I'm talking about, goes into the Illuminati as a deep satanic cult driving the industry, politicians, markets, bank markets, the Federal Reserve, etc., etc. This is like this whole conspiracy developing. Now, in the past, it was more generally accepted that rock stars, played with this element of darkness. In other words, we have Judas Priest, Highway to Hell, or or I think AC/DC, people back in the 80s and 90s consistently played with this dark element. And it was just like rock music is the music of the devil. So I wanted to give you that contrast as to how I came to make this video, because here I am talking to my friend Rolly, and who I've sat down and talked to before, like a year ago before. He played some great music, like some Swedish rock band. And he's playing this Swedish rock band, and I go, well, those lyrics sound pretty dark. And he's like, well, I don't know if they sound dark or not, but so we looked at the lyrics, right? We look at the lyrics, and they're like straight up very worshiping of a darkness. Like, I won't go into it too much, but the band he showed me was straight up saying things that were worshiping a darkness. I'll leave it at that. They were worshiping a darkness. And this, again, was a very intense metal type band. My friend Rolly likes metal stuff. Again, as you've heard right now, there's no surprise there. Like, there's really no surprise there. And this is the way it's been in the past. There's really no surprise. Marilyn Manson came out back in the late 90s and declared a war against Christianity, declared himself as an Antichrist superstar, and even publicly came out and said, I am part of the Church of Satan. In other words, it was very black and white. There was no pulling of any punches. And while it was shocking, it was also not shocking, because it was so black and white. There was no room for error there. Like, he's telling you that. The only mystery was, is he really mean that, or is he doing it just for record sales? Like, that was the main mystery, if at all. But there was no mystery in the message delivered. There was no mystery in the overall, tone of it. There was no mystery at all. It was just black and white. That was how it was, prior to 2000. It's fine. And then why I brought it up, why I made this video, is why I decided to go live and put a hole in the testosterone video, was that yesterday, in discussing Metallica and seeing how back then they used imagery that was like straight up Christianity, or the struggle between dark and light. It was very, very, very visceral. You can look until it sleeps. I wanted to tell you a little bit as to what I started seeing in the last 5 years. In the last 5 years, you see a lot of, well, I'll just leave it at this. You can go to vigilanttcitizen.com or go to YouTube and type in Illuminati, or you could even look at InfoWars or whatever, and you start seeing this theme emerge. You see a lot of this in music videos now, like this simple symbol. Like, you see a lot of this, or you see a lot of this, or you see a lot of this. Like, it's consistently a symbol being used in today's music. And if you've been paying attention at all, like, I think maybe in my estimates, I'm thinking generally about 60 to 70% of people that I speak to will have an idea of what I'm talking about, or an inkling. And they're usually people that just kind of keeping it to themselves, sort of taking their own database of information. They're not usually people that, like myself, you probably didn't know I had this sort of opinion, but I want to tell you how I came to that here in a bit. But I wanted to give you the contrast of Metallica and our conversation I had with my friend Rolly, how, we've never really been shocked, because, I used to listen to rock music a lot, and it was not shocking. It just was something that was part of rock music. And did it influence me to some degree? I think so. I think at some point it did create, it created a tension between me and dogma or religions that are established. And it's taken me a long time to get where I'm at now, saying I'm a yogi or meditation. It's taken me a lot of soul searching to come from that perspective into a perspective that I'm at now. Okay, so then, I wanted to tell you a little bit about how you yourself can look it up, and how it came to be that I made this video, or why, right? Well, my first experience to this subject, this really weird, abstract, controversial, crazy, sometimes completely wrong, sometimes very interesting, intriguing, whatever you want to call it. The subject is vast and crazy and controversial, to say the least. My first experience with conspiracy, or my first encounter with it, was JFK, the movie, with Kevin Costner. I think that was my first experience. It was like, okay, well, was it a conspiracy or not, right? And I currently think it was, but fine. Let's just say it was neither here nor there. I didn't really think much of it. I thought, okay, well, big deal. Someone may have killed him. I was just young, and I didn't really understand to what that could mean to the magnitude of what that could mean. Okay, so that was my first experience. My more direct experience with conspiracy was when I bought the book Conspiracy of the Rich. Conspiracy of the Rich is a book written by Robert Kiyosaki. Now, those of you that know some of my work and know anything about it, that was around 2008 or 9 that I picked up the book Conspiracy of the Rich. Now, those of you that know some of my work know that I got into Robert Kiyosaki back in 2001 and with Rich Dad Poor Dad. And I'm currently in Advocare. And the truth of the matter is that I don't know if I'd be into network marketing without Robert Kiyosaki. So Robert Kiyosaki has played such a pivotal role with his books in my life. Like, I'm a true student of Robert Kiyosaki. So I probably wouldn't be in network marketing, meaning a business like Advocare, if not for Robert Kiyosaki. So he wrote a book called Conspiracy of the Rich, and I picked it up in 2008 or 9. Okay? I picked up the book, and I was shocked. I was shocked to what I found, because he goes into saying how there's a conspiracy against the middle class and the poor by the elite, and it's set up in this way. He gave a couple of key variables. Variable number 1 is that there's no financial education in school. There's not financial education in school because kids and young individuals are raised through the school system to get a job. They're not designed to get rich. In other words, that's the first oppression number 1, is that the conspiracy of the rich is to set up a system where people are in a rat race all their life, paying for through debt, they never get their freedom, and they work all their lives from the time they're born all the way into the grave. And that's the first conspiracy. Now, I encountered this in 2009. It had to be 2008, 2009. And by the time I got through with this book, I felt very, I didn't know what to do. I didn't have any type of motivation really to work, because I felt like, what am I working for? Like, the entire system is set up. Now, currently, right now, this is already several years after he wrote the book, Conspiracy of the Rich. Robert Kiyosaki currently, as of this week, like Monday, he let out an email saying, okay, Trump won, Trump's great, because Robert Kiyosaki actually wrote a book with Trump, and the name of the book is Why We Want You to Be Rich. And I read that book back in 2007. Like, I read that book back in 2007. So here we are, it's 2016, and Robert Kiyosaki is saying, okay, Trump won. He wrote a book with him. Remember, he wrote a book with him, and he's saying, I'm concerned for the future because it's going to be a nightmare coming up. It's a night. Now, I know Robert Kiyosaki is probably talking a little bit dramatically, but see, Robert Kiyosaki has been predicting the downfall of the dollar for over a decade now. Like, Robert Kiyosaki has been settling himself up, planning for the moment, and counting on the toppling of the US dollar. Like, he's saying, count on it. Like, the US dollar is going to fail. How? Well, he's bringing up the point that the US dollar is not backed by gold, and we're trillions of dollars in debt. And so this is why he's saying, like, if you're running on the old system of just get a job, go to school, get a job, and you'll be fine, you'll get a job. Like, he's saying that economy left so long ago. That economy is dead. It doesn't even exist anymore. That's why it's so hard these days to get a job, because that's not the way it is. You can't get a company and work that company for 40 years and get a pension plan or retirement. That's gone. That's no longer present. And so it leaves people my age, the younger people that aren't on Social Security, it leaves people like us to be entrepreneurs, to be people that are consistently pushing the needle and moving forward and finding and adapting, consistently adapting, trusting ourselves, being smart, networking with people. One of the things Robert Kiyosaki said, he goes, the most successful people in life look for and build networks. Everyone else just looks for work. And so if you connect the dots I've been telling you from the beginning of this video, it should explain why I got into network marketing. Because my first teacher, Robert Kiyosaki in 2001, told me about building. He also told me about network marketing. So he told me build networks, get into business, and get into network marketing. And that's what I'm doing now. You see what I'm saying? So I'm working with this process. Here is Kanye West. He's currently in a hospital because he's saying, I like that way Donald Trump was politically incorrect, and that connected with an audience. And the fact that he's trying, all that Kanye West was trying to say, he was saying that when we don't voice who we are really, we're being oppressed. That's what he was saying. And so that's why now I can't validate this. I can't say, oh, definitely because he voiced his opinion, that's why he's in a hospital. All I know is he canceled his tour dates for the rest of the year, and he's in a hospital. So that says two things. That says, one, his promoters are probably pissed that all that money, they're gonna have to refund all that money. Two, he came out and spoke against the people. He's saying, Jay-Z, I know you have killers, but call me up, man. He's saying, so why is he saying all these things? Why is he worried? Why is he coming out on stage, in front of the world stage virtually, because everybody has a cell phone, and saying, call me, don't send your killers? Like, why is he saying that? And then furthermore, Beyonce's last hit song, the one where she's like, slay, and I slay, and I slay, and I slay. That hit song, she comes out at the beginning of that song, she goes, the world's gone crazy with this Illuminati mess, right? And so there's a controversy there. There's like some people saying it's true, and there's people being accused of it saying it's not true. Remember, Conspiracy of the Rich by Robert Kiyosaki in 2009. Nothing to do with Beyonce, nothing to do with Kanye. He's just saying there's a conspiracy of the rich, and it's designed to oppress the middle class and the poor. So, and I read that in 2009. I'm a student of his, right? 2009. Here's the kicker. In 2010, I went to see Lady Gaga in concert. And in that concert, I went to the bathroom in an intermission. I was like, I'm going to go to the bathroom. It's intermission. I went to the bathroom, and I hear Lady Gaga saying something very interesting. And I'm going to play that video for you. I'll put it later on today, or I'll put it up above this video after I'm done. It's a very interesting video. And so what I do is I go home and I'm Googling this thing. I'm like, what did she say? How did she say it? And I finally find it. I finally found that video. And when you see this video, I think you'll know like why I looked it up that day, because it was not like, oh, I'm in love with my boyfriend, or oh, heartbreak. It was like a really profound, esoteric message. And that's why it got me thinking. I was like, what did she just say? And that's when I found a website called Vigilant Citizen. And that's when I started looking up. I found a concept called the Illuminati. And that went into the Freemasons and all this stuff. So here we are, 2009, Conspiracy of the Rich. 2010 is, I find the Illuminati. And I'm like, oh my God, what the hell's going on with the world, right? The year is 2010. I'm like, what's going on with the world? And that's when I start seeing things like this. I start seeing all of these things, all of this like pyramids, and it starts going, and it's just like every artist is putting like triangles and triangles, and it just gets really, the rabbit hole of that whole search gets truly freaking weird to me. And honestly, what I end up doing is I just say, look, dude, I'm just gonna turn to Jesus and screw these crazy people, because it's getting really, really, really weird. Because it's not only just music now. It's not only just Metallica and Iron Maiden and Judas Priest. Now it's like Lady Gaga, and who I love. I've seen Lady Gaga 4 times in concert. I've seen every one of her concerts, and the one with Tony Bennett. I've seen every one of her shows. I love her. She's fucking awesome to me, right? But now I'm like, is she in the Illuminati? And there's all these weird things that I'm seeing in the world, right? And I don't even want to get into it so much. You can go to vigilantcitizen.com, and when you do, just be ready. Just don't go there, because it's a rabbit hole. It'll suck you in, okay? So it's crazy. So that's how I got to that. And I just turned to Jesus. I just turn to Jesus and I go, look, I'm not gonna mess with that shit. I'm just gonna turn to Jesus and leave him alone. And now it's the only sad part was that I feel like sometimes I don't know what music to listen to because it's like, is this brainwashing me? Is this kind of leaving me all weird? I still like Lady Gaga. I still think her last album was okay, but you know, it does leave me kind of feeling a little bit odd, a little bit uneasy as to what's going on with today's music, with today's popular culture, like Lady Gaga, Kanye West, Beyonce, Jay-Z, and then Jay-Z and Lady Gaga are supporting Hillary Clinton, and I'm like, what does that have to do with politics? Like, why are two of the leading people in music? Lady Gaga holds a lot of popularity and Jay-Z holds a lot of popularity. I'm like, why are they supporting Hillary Clinton? Like, what do they have to do with politics? They're musicians. Like, they have nothing to do there, right? So I started seeing that, and then people started going, oh, like, I want to punch Trump, and musicians and people coming out saying, I want to punch Trump, and I'm just like, dude, like, what does this have to do? What does Hollywood have to do with politics, right? So that's my question. That's where I started feeling really uneasy about it, because understand, this has been a perspective I've been developing for over a decade. Like, over a decade, I've been watching this unfold, right? Okay, so we're going to get ready to wrap up. You kind of know a little bit about what I did when I found this information. I consider myself a passionate individual that's centered in the truth. Like, I just like to sort of look at it and then decide for myself. Can I prove that there's a conspiracy? Of course not. Of course not. I think people like Alex Jones or that watch if you go to Infowars.com or something like that, or Gaia, recently Oliver Stone's son, Oliver Stone, like the great director, his son came out and said all of these things. He's coming out boldly saying, no, all of this stuff is true. That's Oliver Stone's son. And there's Alex Jones, and then there's so many artists coming through, whether it's Dave Chappelle, a lot of people coming out and saying, no, there is this conspiracy, this overall arcing powerful force or organization that does either give fame or doesn't, etc., etc. Now, all that said, I can't prove it. To me, it's just, it is a conspiracy that maybe it's true, maybe it's not. I can't prove it. All right, so getting ready to close up here, wanted to basically tell you how this conversation came to be. A little bit, this has been going on directly in my life for about 7 years now. The overall arcing research, I don't obsess over it. It'll hit me sometimes, like I'll go, like for one time I went 2 weeks straight researching this, and then another time, a whole day I'll go into it, and then that'll happen a few times throughout these 7 years or so. My overall view on it has been something that's been developing for about 7 years. I still like some of the musicians, not as much as I used to. I still like some of the musicians, and it's just interesting that back in the day, it used to be more hidden or a little bit more direct. Now, like I said, the artists, they're seen doing this, they're seen doing this, they're seen doing this. They're seen doing all types of things that are like hidden or like unionized. I mean, it was like, if you look at the last video I could think of right off the top of my head was Lil Wayne and Drake, where they sing that song, like he sings, I can give a fuck what a hater said as long as my bitches love me. Like, he goes into this concept, and then he's like, he goes, and these girls love me like Satan, and he says some stuff like that, and it's like, was that really necessary? Like, after all of this conspiracy, right? So one of two things. They're either using this conspiracy to profit, or so they're using the conspiracy to profit, or they are part of a conspiracy. So it's one or the other, but they're both sort of twisted. Either one is pretty twisted, to either use a conspiracy for profit or to actually be part of it. They're both twisted. So anyway, that's that. And if you want, you can go to www for Black Friday. I told you yesterday I would be announcing a Black Friday promotion. You just got to go to www.evolutiontraining.net and submit your email. There'll be a training that comes up for free, and then you just got to click the button and it'll show you the promotion for Black Friday. But that's a wrap. I mean, looks like we covered all the stuff I had to tell you. In the end, my outlook is balanced. I'm a yogi at this stage of my life, and I love being one. It's a lot about owning one's inner temple, like having an inner temple to go to. It's based on a lot of the teachings that Jesus said, which is neither there. People will neither be able to say nor here, nor there, nor high, nor low, but the kingdom of God is within you. So the kingdom of God is within you. And so as a yogi, that's what I focus on the most, is developing and owning and experiencing my inner joy and temple within, and immersing myself in that infinite depth. Infinite depth, meaning I really have not found a place within myself that I'm like, okay, been there, done that. It's consistently opening and showing itself to me. But on the next episode, we will be going into testosterone as promised. And the Black Friday promotion is only for a limited number of people. I'm not going to give a lot of spots out, because on that particular program, I make no money. I'm not going to make any money. It's just designed to get you, to show you how great of a deal it is. And it's a 30-day money-back guarantee on that program. So if you're interested, it's www.evolutiontraining.net. And you just got to go ahead and subscribe to that. When you go there, it'll be say free training mindset, and then it'll be a free training that you get, and then say that you click the button right below the training, and then it'll show you the Black Friday promotion, but you can't see it until you go through those steps, because it is a very select program and promotion that I'm running. Okay, have a great one. This is Jacob Adams signing off. We'll see you in the next episode for testosterone, how to boost it, why I love it, why it's awesome, and everything about it. Peace out. Bye.